And now, the general weather around Alaska.
A winter storm warning remains out tonight and through into tomorrow, into Wednesday here for St. Lawrence Island, Bering Strait coast, northern Seward Peninsula for continued winds gusting anywhere from 40 to 50 miles an hour with possibly 3 to 6 inches additional snowfall. Winter weather advisories here for the Seward Peninsula, Nome area, also up over the Noatak Valley and along the northwest coast, western Arctic coast from Point Lay down to Cape Lisburne and Point Hope. Again for heavy snow and gusty winds. And on the breakup map today, there are no watches, warnings, or advisories out flood-wise here for breakup or snow melt. You can see the Corsicana River completely open here now, and the Kuskokwim River open all the way down to the Delta. And some open areas here along all of the Yukon River until you get out to the Yukon Delta, then still mostly ice in that area. And the Kobuk River here starting to open up a little bit or become a little open, some open on the upper reaches there, still solid ice down to the out toward the coast there. And also for the Noatak River, a little bit of open area there on the lower end as well as the upper end. North Slope River still iced up, and Porcupine River now showing some open areas there with heavier ice back in toward Canada. And from there going to satellite imagery. Actually, you can big storm out here coming into the Bering Sea. Shows up pretty vividly here by the spiral and the cloud pattern there, and a good front pushing eastward, bringing strong winds and snow and blowing snow from St. Lawrence Island across the Seward Peninsula area, down along the Yukon Delta coast there, and mostly rain and gusty winds from the Pribilof Islands down to the eastern Aleutian areas. Central interior under higher pressure in advance of the system. Some clearing here all the way down into Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, Bristol Bay, Kodiak Island. And another system here having pushed into the southeast coast, low pressure back in this area. Front trailing back to the southwest to another development just coming onto the picture there, as you can see right through here. And that'll be tracking northeastward here, mostly south, staying to the south for the next couple of days there. And so may end up with a dry day here on Thursday for the southeast coast. Otherwise, again, this big storm coming into the west on the satellite, or seen on the satellite, on the surface chart here, low pressure area still back to the west. The front here approaching St. Lawrence Island this afternoon, and the strong winds anywhere from 45 to 65 miles per hour with heavy, moderate to heavy snows falling and reduced visibilities in those winds here up through this area. And different story over interior Alaska today. A lot of light winds with mostly clear skies. Afternoon showers developing once again over the Chugach, Talkeetna Mountains, eastern Alaska Range, Copper River Basin areas of the North Gulf Coast. And periods of rain today for the southeast coast begin to come a little more intermittent as showers as that front pushes through. And for tonight, the front moves slowly eastward here, right on top of St. Lawrence Island, down across the Pribilofs to the eastern Aleutians. So the winter storm warnings continue out for those areas, St. Lawrence Island and the western Seward Peninsula, again with strong winds, heavy snow there. Mix of precipitation south of the snow area there. Yukon Delta back towards St. Matthew Island. Mostly rain here to the south there for the Kuskokwim Delta to the Alaska Peninsula and eastern Aleutians, followed by some scattered showers for Adak and Atka, then dry out to the west. And still dry with light winds, fair amount of clearing over interior Alaska, again from Kodiak Island all the way up to the Arctic coast. Eastward there into Canada, diminishing showers here overnight period and this evening for southeast interior areas. And showers for the southeast coast. Here's that next system that on Thursday tracks farther south than what we thought it was going to yesterday there, with some rain over the Queen Charlotte. So just some isolated showers for Wednesday here across the southeast coast. Diminishing showers actually, and mostly sunny south central Alaska through the interior up to the Arctic coast and eastward. And rain, light areas of light rain. This front starting to weaken now. Still worst conditions, or the heaviest wind and precipitation will be up here in advance of the front, along in advance of the front here for the Seward Peninsula up to the northwest coastal areas and Brooks Range. Showers behind the front for the Pribilof Islands. Drying out to the west here. Not much coming in. Just a weak trough with a little bit of moisture out there for the western Aleutians. And then for the outlook for Thursday, well, that front falls to pieces here over the western interior. So look for some areas of light snow persisting. Bering Strait, Shishmaref, up along Kivalina, Point Hope, Cape Lisbarn, and just some scattered shower activity here over the western interior, lower Yukon River Valley into the Kuskokwim Valley areas with areas of light rain, Bristol Bay with that weak low center there, and the front keeping it wet over Kodiak Island. Some of that moisture getting up to the extreme southern Kenai Peninsula areas, Port Moller and Seldovia. Less of a chance, say, for Homer. Dry for northern Cook Inlet with increasing clouds in the afternoon. And otherwise, mostly sunny here for the eastern interior, and looks like, hopefully, a dry day for the southeast coast with a fair amount of sunshine. And lows tonight over that area in the lower 40s. Otherwise in the 30s here across southern Alaska, mid to upper 30s for the central interior, and then 20s for the Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast, including the North Slope. Lower 30s here for the southwest coast and Seward Peninsula and St. Lawrence Island. Mid to upper 30s for the Aleutians. Highs tomorrow. Finally, some 60s showing up here for the central and eastern interior, as well as possibly the Copper River Basin, Sitna Valley could see some lower 60s tomorrow. Otherwise in the 50s, near 50, or otherwise in the 50s, but near 50 for Kodiak Island. Upper 40s, lower 50s there for the southeast coast. And lows, a little milder here, staying well above freezing in the central interior. In fact, lower 40s for the Yukon Flats. Otherwise, upper 30s to near 40 for southern Alaska here to Kodiak Island, as well as the Panhandle, and 25 to 30 for the Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast. And looking at the highs for Thursday afternoon, mid-60s here, Yukon Flats to Eagle. Otherwise, Fairbanks 60 to 65, cooling into the 50s as you head west and eventually into the 40s, and then down to the upper 30s out toward the Bering Strait, or the Bering Sea. Upper 30s for the Pribilofs, 40s for the Aleutians, and in the 50s for the southeast coast.